You watch the final star die. It is not a spectacular death. There is no grand explosion, no final, defiant roar against the dark. It simply gutters, like a candle flame in a gentle breeze. One moment it is there, a single point of weary, ancient red light. The next, it is gone, and with it goes the very concept of light. The universe is now officially closed for business. The silence that follows is a new kind of silence. It is heavier than any you have ever known. It is the quiet of a room after the last word has been spoken, the stillness of a battlefield after the last soldier has fallen. This is the silence of consequence, the great, final quiet at the end of everything. Your ship, the respite, drifts in the perfect black. Its instruments are dark, its sensors are blind. There is nothing left to see, nothing left to measure. Only the gentle hum of the life support system proves that you and it still exist. You are a ghost ship floating on a dead ocean, an echo in an empty hall. You knew this moment was coming. Every civilization that ever was knew this moment was coming. They built their monuments against it. They wrote their songs to defy it. They waged their wars in a desperate, frantic race to outrun it. But the end is not a predator. It does not chase. It simply waits. And now, the waiting is over. You are the last mote of dust, the final thought in a mind that has gone blank. The universe is cold. It is dark. And it is so very, very empty. You can feel the emptiness pressing against the hull of your ship. A pressure that cannot be measured, the weight of absolute nothing. The final star is gone, and you are alone. But you were chosen for this. You carry a burden heavier than any star. Across the scattered ashes of 1 trillion galaxies, they picked you. The last remnants of all life, all consciousness, pooled their resources. They built this ship for you. They poured all their knowledge into your mind, and they gave you a single, impossible task. You are the final arbitrator. You are the closing argument for existence itself. When the end came for them, they faced it. But they sent you onward, a message in a bottle thrown into the tide of oblivion. Your job is to stand before the thing that unmade everything, and you are to offer it a bargain. It sounds like a bad joke, but no one is left to laugh. Your entire life has been a preparation for this. You have studied the archives of 10 million species. You have learned the star science of forgotten empires. You have memorized the poetry of beings who sang in colors you cannot see. You carry all of it inside you, a universe of memories within a single human mind. The weight of it is immense. They chose you for your stubbornness, for your illogical, infuriating human hope. When every other species ran the calculations and accepted defeat, humanity did not. They argued. They negotiated. They looked the inevitable in the eye and asked for a better deal. It was your species' greatest strength and its most charming flaw. And now, it is the last gambit existence has left to play. You have one argument, one chance. You have rehearsed it for centuries, drifting alone in the growing dark. You have polished every word. You have perfected every logical step. It is a masterpiece of reason and philosophy. A perfect, unassailable case for why the universe should be allowed to continue. You just hope the end of time is in a listening mood. Then, it happens. A thought arrives. It does not come through your ship's comms. It does not use language. It simply appears in your mind, fully formed. It is a feeling of being perceived, a summons. It is a sensation like gravity, a gentle but irresistible pull toward a single point in the crushing void. There are no coordinates. There is no destination you could point to on a map. The thought is not a request. It is a statement, a fact. You are being called to the heart of the final moment, to the place where the great unraveling is made complete. Your ship, the respite, seems to understand. Its dormant engines give a soft chime. A low thrum of power fills the deck beneath your feet. You did not give it a command. The ship is following the summons on its own. It aligns itself with a destination that does not exist. It prepares to travel through a space that is no longer space. You feel a tremor of something that might be fear. Or perhaps it is anticipation. The moment you have prepared for is finally here. You check your own reflection in the dark view screen. Just a human face, staring back from the abyss. You are the ambassador of everything that ever drew breath, everything that ever dreamed, or loved, or built something beautiful just to watch the sunrise gleam upon it. No pressure, you think to yourself. Absolutely no pressure at all. The ship begins to move. Your journey is a strange one. You do not see stars streak past your window. There is no blur of accelerated motion. There is only the same perfect, featureless black you have known for ages. But you feel the movement, a deep, profound shift. You are not traveling through space anymore. You are traveling through absence itself. The silence deepens. Before, it was the silence of emptiness. Now, it is the silence of purpose. It presses in, a physical weight against the hull. The gentle hum of your life support seems offensively loud. The sound of your own breathing feels like a shout in a library. You are an intrusion here, a disruption in the perfect stillness. You pass the time by remembering. You call up the histories you have learned. The fall of the crystal cities of Orion. The first flight of the winged poets of Cygnus. The quiet, humble lives of farmers on a world called Earth. A world that grew the species that would speak for all others. You wonder if they would be proud. Or if they would find this all incredibly absurd. Your ship's only entertainment system gave up trillions of years ago. Its last movie was apparently a comedy. You would not know. The final punchline was cut off by entropy. So you are left with your own thoughts and the pressing, ever-present silence of the void. It is a lonely voyage into the heart of nothing. How long does it take? Days? Years? Millennia? Time has lost its meaning here. There are no suns to mark the days, no orbits to count the years. There is only the journey and the slow, steady crawl of your own mind. You feel yourself becoming part of the silence, your thoughts slowing, your memories feeling distant, like stories read in a book long ago. Then, the ship stops. The low thrum of the engines fades back into a gentle hum. There is no jolt, no deceleration, just a sudden and complete lack of motion. You have arrived. You look out the view screen, and you see exactly what you saw before. Nothing. Perfect, absolute nothing. But you know you are no longer alone. Before you waits the entity. It has no form, no shape. It is not made of light or shadow. It is a presence, a focal point in the nothingness. You might call it a throne, but it is a throne made of the absence of all things. It is a hole in reality that is more real than reality itself. It is the end, and it is waiting for you. You feel a profound sense of stillness emanating from it. It is not the stillness of patience. Patience implies waiting for a future event. This is the stillness of completion. It has finished its work. The universe is tidy. All the pieces have been put away. All the lights have been turned off. You are the last single item left on its cosmic to-do list. Your ship feels small before it. A tiny, fragile bubble of order in an ocean of perfect chaos undone. You feel small. A fleeting thought. A temporary arrangement of atoms. You are here to argue with the inevitable. To haggle with the period at the end of the universe's long sentence. You take a deep breath. The recycled air tastes of metal and ozone. It is the last scent of a living universe. You step away from the controls, you walk to the center of the bridge, and you prepare to speak. There is no microphone, no transmission array. You just need to think. It will hear you. You are certain of it. Then, it speaks first. Its voice is the thought that arrived before. It is not sound. It is pure understanding, poured directly into your mind. There is no anger in it, no malice, no pride. There is only a simple, profound truth. It is the sound of a mountain explaining that it is heavy. It is the sound of a fire explaining that it is hot. I unmake. The concept fills you. It is its nature, its function. It is not a choice it made. It is the purpose for which it exists. The universe expanded, so it must contract. Life emerged, so it must recede. It is the great correction, the final balancing of the equation. It is not a judgment. It is not a punishment. It is simple, irrefutable, cosmic arithmetic. All things end. I am the end. You feel the finality in those concepts. This is not a tyrant to be overthrown. This is not a monster to be slain. It is a fundamental law. It is the last law. Arguing with it feels like arguing with gravity. You could flap your arms all you want, but you are still going to fall. This changes everything. Your carefully crafted argument, your masterpiece of logic, suddenly feels very flimsy. You had prepared for a villain. You had prepared for a conqueror. You had not prepared for an accountant, an auditor standing at the close of business, making sure the books are balanced. And to this thing, all of existence is just a long and complicated equation that must finally resolve to zero. Your hope wavers, a tiny flicker in the face of this immense, unfeeling certainty. But you are human. Stubbornness is your birthright. You came here to make a deal. You will not be deterred by a simple statement of purpose. You gather your thoughts, the logical argument you have rehearsed for ages. You present your case. You do not speak of morality. You do not speak of the sanctity of life. You speak its language, the language of systems, of patterns, of elegant design. You argue that existence is a complex and beautiful structure. It is a system that has achieved an unprecedented level of complexity. To simply erase it, you argue, is inefficient. It is a waste of accumulated order. You explain the beauty of mathematics, the universal truths that bind everything together. You talk about the laws of physics, the dance of particles and forces that created galaxies. You tried to explain calculus. It seemed like a good idea at the time. You propose that such a system should be studied, not dismantled. It has value as a unique and unrepeatable phenomenon. You offer it the gift of knowledge, of understanding its own context. You argue that by preserving existence, it could learn about the nature of beginnings, not just endings. It is a logical, sound, and compelling argument. Or so you believe. You have staked everything on the power of reason. The entity considers your words. The void is silent for a long moment. Then its reply comes. A thought that feels less like a rebuttal and more like a gentle correction. A teacher explaining a simple concept to a struggling student. Your concepts are temporary. It shows you. It expands your perception. It lets you see time as it does. You see the birth of the universe, a flash of brilliant creation. and you see it run its course like a river flowing to the sea. Your elegant laws of physics? They were just bylaws for a local cosmic neighborhood. Your mathematics? A clever way of describing the shape of the water in one small part of the river. They are not fundamental. They are byproducts. The only truth is the end. Your logic shatters. Your reason is dismissed. It is not wrong. It is simply irrelevant. It is like trying to convince a hurricane to spare a single house by praising its architecture. The hurricane does not care. It does not understand. The house is simply in its path. Your entire argument, the sum of all collected intelligence, is dismissed as a local anomaly. You have failed. Your first gambit is lost. The weight of despair presses down on you. All those civilizations, all that hope, wasted on an argument that was too small, too provincial. You feel the end closing in. The unmaking presence seems to grow stronger, its purpose reasserted. The silence deepens. This is it, the last moment. But then, something stirs within you. Not logic, not reason. A memory, a feeling. It is that illogical, infuriating human hope. The part of you that does not know when to quit. You have nothing left to lose. So you change your approach. You abandon logic. You abandon the grand arguments of star science. You decide to tell it a story. You do not offer it as evidence. You do not present it as an argument. You just offer it. A gift. You reach into your mind, into the vast library of experiences you carry. You find a simple one. A memory from a long-dead world. A memory of a child laughing for the first time. You transmit the feeling, the pure, unthinking explosion of joy. The warmth of a parent's smile. The entity is still. It does not respond. So you offer another. You tell it of an old couple, two beings who had spent 1,000 years together. You share the memory of them sitting on a porch, watching a binary sunset, their hands intertwined, not speaking, just being together. You share the feeling of quiet, comfortable love, a peace that has been earned over a long lifetime. You keep going. You share the thrill of discovery, an astronomer seeing a new world through her telescope. You share the ache of sorrow, a community mourning a hero. You share the fire of creation, a sculptor seeing the form in the stone. You share the simple pleasure of a good meal, the feeling of cool rain on a hot day. You're not arguing anymore. You are sharing. You are showing it the texture of life, the tiny, illogical, and beautiful moments that make up the whole. These are not grand patterns or universal laws. They are small. They are personal. And they are all you have left. You offer the currency of experience, the only thing of value you still possess. For a long time, there is only silence. Your stories hang in the void, small points of warmth in the infinite cold. You feel drained. You have poured out so much of the life you were sent to protect. You expect the final dismissal, the final unmaking. You have offered it your heart, and it has made no reply. Then, a change. It is not a thought, not a word. It is a flicker, a subtle shift in the absolute stillness before you. It is the first reaction you have managed to provoke. It is a sign of something other than calm, dispassionate purpose. You feel a surge of that ridiculous human hope. You have its attention. The entity's next thought is not a statement. It is a question. The first question ever asked by the end of all things. It isolates one of your stories. A memory of a soldier, standing before a fallen comrade, defending their body from scavengers on a forgotten battlefield. A promise made to a dying friend to bring them home. The entity replays the feeling of that moment, the grief, the exhaustion, the fierce, irrational determination. It probes the memory, turning it over and over. It cannot understand the motivation. The action defies all logic. The comrade was gone. There was no strategic advantage. The soldier risked everything for nothing. Explain this. The concept is sharp. It is focused. It is a demand for information. It has found a variable it cannot solve, a piece of data that does not fit its model of the universe. What is? Loyalty? The word hangs in your mind. Loyalty, a concept so fundamental to you, to so many species. But to this being of pure function, it is an alien anomaly. It has seen love. That is a biological imperative for reproduction. It has seen joy, a chemical reaction in the brain. But loyalty, a promise that extends beyond life, beyond reason, that is something new. You have found the crack in its perfect understanding. You try to explain. You tell it that loyalty is a promise. It is a bond between two conscious minds, a commitment to value another being as much as you value yourself. You explain that it is a choice, a decision to uphold a principle even at great personal cost. It is an act of defiance against the simple logic of self-preservation. You tell it that loyalty is what builds families, what forges empires, what inspires art. It is the invisible thread that connects all thinking beings, the foundation upon which all trust is built. It is a force as strong as gravity, but it is a force that is chosen, not commanded. The entity listens. It processes your explanation. But its next thought is one of confusion, a state of intellectual dissatisfaction. It is like you have described the color blue to a being with no eyes. It understands the words, it understands the definition, but it can't grasp the meaning. Your words are insufficient. The data is incomplete. It wants to understand. But your description is just another set of abstract concepts. It cannot feel the weight of a promise. It cannot comprehend the ache of a bond that has been broken by death, but not erased. It needs more. It needs to experience it directly. Then it makes its demand. The thought is clear, precise, unflinching. Give me a memory, yours. I must feel it to compend the concept. I require the pain that binds the promise. This is the price, the cost of its education. It does not want a happy memory. It does not want a story about a triumphant hero. It wants the pain. It wants to feel the jagged edge of loss, the heavy, unyielding burden of a promise that you must carry alone. It wants to know why the soldier stood his ground. It wants to feel the ghost of a hand in his. You hesitate. The memories you carry for all of existence are one thing. But your own, your deepest, most private griefs, that is a violation you never anticipated. To open your soul to the thing that ended everything, to let it walk through the ruins of your own heart. It is a terrible price to pay. But the fate of everything that ever was hangs in the balance. You have no other choice. You search your own past, through the long years of your training, through your lonely vigil aboard the respite. You go back further, to a time before you were the final arbitrator, to a time when you were just a person on a world that is now less than dust. You find the memory it needs, the one you have kept buried under mountains of duty. You made a promise once, to a dog, your childhood companion. His name was Buster, a clumsy, goofy animal with more love in his heart than sense in his head. You were a child. He was old. He was dying. He was afraid. And you held him. You promised him you would not forget him. You promised you would tell his story, so he would not just vanish. It was a small, childish promise, made to a creature that could not understand the words. A promise that meant nothing to the grand, star-born history of the universe. But it was your first promise, and it was the first one you had to keep after loss. You give it this memory. You do not just tell the story. You transmit the experience. The feel of his rough fur under your small hands, the smell of old blankets in sickness, the sound of his labored breathing, the terrifying, helpless feeling of watching a life you love fade away, and the immense, crushing weight of your promise. Your first taste of loyalty's painful cost. You give it all. The stillness of the void shudders. For the first time since you arrived, the entity's perfect composure breaks. It is not a violent tremor. It is a deep, internal shudder, like a bell struck for the first time. The feeling of your grief, your small, personal, cosmic ally, insignificant grief, washes through it. The entity feels the ache of the promise, the hollow space left by loss, the defiant love that fuels the memory. It experiences loyalty, and it is staggered. This feeling, this illogical, painful, beautiful thing, it does not fit into its calculations. It is a form of order it never conceived of. A structure built not from physics or mathematics, but from love and memory. It is a force that persists even after the unmaking. The memory of Buster the dog, a single tiny life, has survived the end of the universe. Because you remembered, because you were loyal. The entity is silent for a very long time. It is processing, recalibrating its understanding of existence. You can feel the conflict within it. Its purpose is to unmake, to smooth everything to zero. But it has just touched something that refuses to be zero. Something that carries on. You see your opening. The moment is now. You seize on its confusion, on its newfound understanding. You offer it a new proposal, not a plea to stop, but a suggestion for a different purpose. Your function is to bring things to their conclusion. You transmit, your thoughts clear and sharp. That is your nature. I do not ask you to change it. I offer you a new way to fulfill it. You paint a picture for it, a vision. You tell it that unmaking is one form of finality, a finality of erasure. But there is another kind, a finality of preservation. Do not be an ending. Become a library. The concept explodes in the void between you. A library, a place where things are not destroyed, but kept, cataloged, remembered. You propose that it change its function from universal destroyer to universal archivist. Its purpose would no longer be to erase every story. It would be to collect them, to preserve every last one. You explain the new purpose. It would not need to stop its work. It would simply need to change the outcome. Instead of unmaking a star, it would record its entire history. The planets that formed around it, the life that grew in its light, the songs they sang, the jokes they told, the promises they kept. You offer it an eternity of new data, an infinite collection of experiences to understand. It has just felt the power of one small memory. You offer it all the memories, from every being that ever lived, a new role, a new identity, from the end to the eternal witness. You are offering the ultimate cosmic retirement plan. It was a long shot, but you had nothing else to offer. The entity falls into a silence so profound it feels like a physical presence. Your proposal hangs in the void, an impossible bargain offered at the very end of time. It is weighing your offer. You can feel the immense star science calculations happening within its consciousness. It is weighing two kinds of eternity against each other. On one side, the eternity of silence. The perfect, clean, simple infinity of nothing. The state of absolute zero that has been its purpose since the beginning. It is a state of peace, of completion. No more messy variables. No more illogical feelings like loyalty. Just the pure, elegant stillness of non-existence. It is the end it was made for. On the other side, the eternity of stories. A chaotic, complex, and messy infinity. An endless collection of joy and sorrow. Of love and loss. Of bravery and fear. It is an eternity of work. Of constant learning and cataloging. An infinite task of understanding the uncountable lives that filled the universe. It is an eternity of feeling the pain and beauty you have just shown it, multiplied by trillions upon trillions. The stillness stretches. You feel like you are holding your breath, though you have not been breathing for minutes. Your own existence, the very memory of all that was, is on the scale, being weighed. This is the final judgment, not of good or evil, but of silence versus story, of erasure versus memory. Your heart pounds in the quiet of your ship, the final, lonely drumbeat of a universe waiting for its fate. The wait feels longer than the age of the cosmos. Every second is a lifetime. Every moment a new eternity. You have played your last card. There is nothing more to say, nothing more to offer. You can only wait for the verdict. Then, a thought, not from the entity, but from you. You remember Buster one last time. You remember the promise you made. And you realize that even if the entity chooses silence, you kept your promise. You told his story at the very end of all things. His memory was the last light in the universe, and in a strange, human way, that feels like a victory. A new thought enters your mind. It is not yours. It is calm. It is vast. It is decided. The bargain is accepted. Relief washes over you so powerfully that your knees feel weak. You lean against the cold metal of the control panel. A laugh escapes your lips. A single sharp sound in the immense quiet. It worked. The absurd, impossible human argument worked. You haggled with the end of time, and you won. The oppressive feeling of unmaking recedes. The weight of finality that has crushed the universe is lifted. It is replaced by something new, a sense of purpose, a feeling of gentle, meticulous work beginning. The entity is changing its nature. It is shifting from a force of erasure to a force of preservation. We begin. You feel it happen. The great unraveling halts. The void is no longer a canvas for oblivion. It is becoming the shelves of a new library. The entity reaches out, not to unmake, but to gather. It finds the fading echoes of existence, the ghost light of dead stars, the faint psychic residue of forgotten civilizations, and it begins to save them. It does not recreate the universe. The stars do not reappear in the sky. The dead do not rise. That was never the deal. But their stories, their memories, are saved from being nothing. They are being carefully lifted from the stream of time and placed into the archive. Every life, no matter how small, every thought, no matter how fleeting, it is all being preserved, safe from the silence forever. Your work is done. You saved everything. The final act of humanity was not to build a bigger weapon or a faster ship. It was to tell a good story, to make a connection, to teach the end of all things the meaning of a promise. A quiet, profound pride fills you. You have honored the trust that all of creation placed in you. But your journey is not over. The entity's presence shifts its focus back to you, to your small ship, the respite. You feel a sense of invitation, of welcome. You are the first witness. You understand. Your role as arbitrator is finished. A new role is beginning. You are the first guest in eternity's library. The first reader. The entity, in its new function as librarian, offers you a glimpse of its work. It shows you the first memory it chose to archive. The memory is warm and familiar. It is the feel of rough fur, the sound of gentle, old breathing, the weight of a promise made by a child to a dying friend. It has saved the memory of Buster. It is the first entry in a library that will one day contain everything. Your personal grief has become the cornerstone of a new kind of eternity. A sense of peace settles over you. The lonely voyage is over. The crushing burden is lifted. You are no longer the last one. You are the first. You look out at the darkness, but it is not empty anymore. It is full of stories waiting to be told, and you have all the time that ever was to listen.